I, Byers Cole,
I, Byers Cole,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee of the Board of Education
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the trust as the trustee of the Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
That I have to do it.
I, Karen Brown,
I, Karen Brown, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the State of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee of the Board of Education to the best of my ability. I make you work for it, Teresa.
I love them.
We're all ready.
At this time, we would like to take nominations for President of the Board of Education.
I nominate Karen Brown.
I second. All right, I'm not going to talk.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations, Mrs. Brown.
Here we go.
Oh,
Keep it in the middle.
Okay. I, Karen Brown,
I, Karen Brown,
do solemnly
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of President
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of President of the Board of Education
according to the best of my
according to the
ability.
best of my ability. So it's a little dangerous. I don't know if I want anything to hit me with in between. Oh, it's my turn, right?
No.
At this time, I need to get a nomination for Vice President.
I nominate Joseph Magarachi.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Congratulations, Joe. We did it.
I,
I'm not gonna be like her. I, Joseph Magarachi,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Vice President
of Vice President
of the Board of Education
of the Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Like when Vinny first got here, right? Can you go to that book?
Vinny
Vinny made that book. He found that book himself. Okay, so at this time, we're going to go through our reorg agenda. So I need a motion to appoint our district clerk and secretary to the Board of Education as Teresa Bryant.
So move.
Second.
And all in favor.
Aye.
I don't really have to do the motions through this whole thing, right? We don't do that. We don't have to do that. I can just announce it, except for what's changing. So the deputy district clerk for this year is, Teresa, you want me to swear you in first, actually, while you're here?
Oh.
I have to swear you in. And then you can swear everybody else in tomorrow. It's the same thing. Did you care where I put your name? I, Teresa Bryant,
I, Teresa Brown,
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the, go ahead, if you know what you can.
Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York,
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and faithfully discharge the duties of district clerk of education
according to the best of my ability. Thank you. Just have to sign it. So moving forward on our reorganization agenda, our deputy district clerk for this year will be Nabila Habibullah. I said that right. And our district treasurer is James Igo. When you go down, Teresa will will swear those people in tomorrow and give the oath to the following people as well tomorrow. Deputy district treasurer will be Gina Gandolfo. The rest of these people don't get sworn in. Board counsel is Gercio and Gercio. Thank you very much, Mr. Mistecki. Director of School Health Services is Dr. Eric Schoenfeld. Our external auditor is Cullen and Danowski. Our district architect of record will be BBS Architects. The claims auditor is Michael Kearns. Our internal auditor is Serini and Associates. Financial advisory services is Capital Market Advisors. Our records management officer is Michelle Lambo-Marin, assistant principal at the secondary school. Our records access officer is Teresa Bryant. Our purchasing agent is Joel Press. Our deputy purchasing agent is Dina Riley. He's in my virtual world. Thank you. Our Akira compliance officer is Bill Dworsak. Our CEO, plural, are Dan Raymond and Dina Riley. We have an appointment of Dignity for All Student Act coordinators, who are generally the high school principals, generally the building principals, excuse me. So that would be Joseph Pumo, Michelle Nadi, Deanna Sanito, and Faith Tripp. Our private school book room supervisor is Vincent Fleck. Our hearing officers are Dina Riley and Joel Press. Our Title IX officer is our assistant superintendent for business and our assistant superintendent for curriculum. Our bond counsel is Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood. Up to 22. Does anybody on the board have any questions? I just don't want to keep going if you have anything to add. Okay. So a couple of these are where, well, this next one is the first one that affects the board and is a board title position. It's our NISBA advocacy liaison. So this person generally, sometimes NISBA will send out notifications that there's going to be a meeting with, I don't know, we've met with like Kathleen Rice, we've met with a couple of other people as New York State school boards, not as the West Hempstead, you know, people from the West Hempstead School Board necessarily, but as a committee of school board members from and representing New York State school boards. So, and they send out a lot of information. Generally speaking, all of us will get those emails, but that person is the one that gets the advocacy out there or may end up going to these meetings with whoever the legislator is. Pat Graves was the person that did it. Unfortunately, a lot of these meetings took place during the day, and so therefore, sometimes it was me that went to those meetings. I mean, not unfortunately, but she was unable to go. Is there anybody that would like to take on that role?
How often?
It's not often at all. It's, you know, I think in a year, I've gone to 2 meetings, maybe. A lot of it is via email or just reading.
I don't.
Okay. So, anybody have objection to Kurt being the advocacy liaison? No, you don't get to go. All right, so our district level DASA coordinator is Ms. Riley. Our residency officers are our assistant superintendent for business and our assistant superintendent for curriculum. Those are always going to be those titles, those 2 positions, the Title IX officer and the residency officer. So years ago, instead of changing the names, if somebody left, that's why we titled it to just say superintendent, assistant super for business and assistant for curriculum. Yes, Fire.
What is a residency officer, please?
If we have to do a residency hearing, like check somebody's residency within district, that, yeah.
Thank you.
Our homeless liaisons are generally our PPS director and our assistant PPS director. So at this time, I'm just going to appoint Bridget Karras. And at a future date, we will appoint whoever the new assistant PPS director will be. Our wellness coordinator is Christopher Mastretta. Our transition liaison is generally the assistant director of PPS. So for now, it's to be determined. Our data privacy trainee Data privacy training. Trainer.
Sounds title.
I think it's all.
It's the title. Is Nabila, I'm gonna do it again, Nabila Habibullah. Standing committees. So this is us and the committees that we take. So every year, for those of you new to the board or those of you returning that may not remember, we do our building and grounds inspections prior to the start of the school year. Oh, actually, this is not a building. We're short a building now. I'm gonna make it one building. Yeah. So, we do building inspections, building walkthroughs. They're usually like the last 2 weeks of August, right before school starts, just to make sure that the buildings are cleaned and ready and we see no issues for the kids to come back into the building. We walk through with the superintendent, Mr. Dorsack, the head custodian in that building, and the principal, generally speaking. So normally what would happen is we would replace those members of the board that have left with the new members of the board. So at this time, I'm going to ask, just before we even do that, is there any member on a standing building that wants to move to a different building?
I would like to
You want to do what, Ben?
Chestnut. Give up PW.
You want to give up GW? Go to Chestnut.
Check out the pre-K.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else that wants to move currently? Okay, so right now that leaves us with a Cornwall Avenue spot and a GW spot. Do either one of you care which building you end up in?
I do not.
Okay, so how about we'll give Byers Cornwall Avenue?
Okay.
And we'll give Bert George Washington.
Okay.
I could do it with Andrea. Fantastic.
So, oh, I didn't think that was where that was going. No, I'm just kidding. So in addition, just a reminder that at that time of year, it does get a little hinky and a lot of us are working. So sometimes it comes up where somebody can't make their inspection and thusly an email will go out and say, can somebody pick up this inspection that day because so-and-so can't go. After the inspection is over, then we write up our reports about what we saw in the building. Usually just one of us will write it up, take notes, write it up, and then send it to the other one to make sure it's okay. We send them to the district clerk and then we vote on, we pass them, you know, in October.
Did you say hinky?
Hinky.
What does, is that an official New York
It is.
State Board of Assessors? Counselor, what does hinky?
Just hinky. Just get over it.
So what, the high school and the middle school?
High school and middle school is going to be one
Okay.
secondary plant, so that's Kurt and I. Which actually means Kurt and I really have two buildings, so if anybody wants Delaney, they can have it, but.
Do you want me to do Delaney for you?
No, I'm just saying, if anybody wanted a second building that doesn't have a second building, I would give it to them. In case my life gets hinky, and I can't go to Delaney, I'll give it to somebody else. All right, so moving on, our community and private school liaison. Again, just so everybody understands that most of these committees or liaisons, we usually only have 2 to 3 of us on there so that it's not a quorum, because if there's 4 of us, it could be considered a meeting of the board. So we only put 3 people on each, 2 or 3 depending, or 2 and an alternate. So community and private school liaison, at this time, obviously right now, we really only have 1 private school in town, which would be Hank, which is fine. Does anybody want to come off that committee and or join that committee? Join that liaison group? You want to go? Does anybody else have either A, want to come off, or, well, A, you, or B, want to join, because then one of us would come off? Yeah.
I'd be happy to do it if it's needed, but
You're not doing
I was
it.
gonna say, it's up
to you. Fires.
You could be an alternate.
Do you want to be an alternate?
I'll be an alternate, sure.
Okay, liaison to community organizations, that means the civic association, PTAs, things like that. That's the committee of the whole, because we don't, there's never a time where all of us end up at the same meeting at the same time. We do try to make sure there's somebody at every meeting if we can. We're going to try to work this out differently this year so that maybe we have some kind of a schedule and then make sure that if somebody doesn't attend, they get somebody else to go close out the email. The Audit Committee, again, is a committee of the whole. That is an actual meeting. It's an executive session meeting. It includes 2 community residents who are currently, I'm going to say his name wrong, Stuart Conensberg, right? And Rich Miller, whose terms I think come to an end at the end of this year. Just Rich. So look forward to a posting going out about that if you're a community member who wants to be on the Audit Committee. Sports Committee, Pat Graves has left us from the board, so she will no longer be a member of the Sports Committee. Sports Committee is generally a meeting with the outside organizations that use the fields. It's not like an in-district sports committee meeting. It's a committee for the outside organizations like the Chiefs and the Young Israel Little League and anybody who utilizes our outside fields. So Joe, you're currently the chairperson of that committee. Do you want to stay as
Yes,
chairperson?
please.
Kurt, you're currently on that committee. Do you want to stay? Andrea, I know you posed interest in joining that committee. Does anybody have,
If that's okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give it up to the, to the new ones.
does anybody have an issue or want to be on that committee? And Vinny, you're the alternate. Do you want to stay as the alternate or do you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a meeting of me.
Just as well.
Health and Safety Liaison, it's generally a meeting that's about 3:30 in the afternoon. We get to meet with Bill and listen to all the good stuff about fire code and soap dispensers and things like that. So Gavi and I were both on that committee. Of course, COVID, poor Gavi, he really got the short end of that stick because everything that he was on the committee for didn't happen because it was COVID. So he didn't have to go to anything. So Gavi is no longer on that committee. Does anybody want to be part of this Health and Safety Committee and listen to soap? Nobody wants to do it, just me. Okay.
I'll do it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
I was gonna say, I
But
think
now
our-
everybody's like, everybody's gonna do it.
I think our new members have to take some.
I'll do it.
Okay. Fires. Our policy subcommittee generally meets to discuss policies that are coming up for review if they're not standard, just revisionary, or just being reaffirmed. Currently, that committee consists of Andrea, myself, and Joe. Is everybody okay with that standing the way it is, or does anybody want to be on that committee or not be on that committee? Then it doesn't. I'm good. Okay. And the evaluation committee is the evaluation of the superintendent. We evaluate the superintendent once a year. That committee is the committee of the whole. So you guys, nobody gets to get off that committee for a second. Sorry, you all have to be a part of it. So skipping forward.
I tried.
Skipping forward, bonding. Treasurer resolved that the superintendent, assistant superintendent for business, assistant superintendent for curriculum, the treasurer and the deputy treasurer shall be bonded as heretofore in the amount of $1 million. That's standard.
Is that standard?
That's the standard. This is, I think, the way it's been now for as long as I've been on the board, if not longer.
And this is saying that, is this indemnifying them personally? Is that what that is? Basically, is that what that is? Chris?
Excuse me, sorry, it's so loud to. Designation of signatories. The payroll is signed by the treasurer, all other is signed by the treasurer, and the deputy treasurer can sign in his absence. No, deputy treasurer. Designation of depositories. This just lists the banks and the paying agents that we can use, not necessarily that we do use. So that we don't have to come back in at any point and just say we want to move to this bank or whatever. Gives them the ability to do so as long as they were a portion of this depository list.
A quick question on the item before, the designation of signatories. Does that mean one signatory is sufficient to spend money or?
Well, we don't spend money without a board docket.
plus the approval, but that's the release of funds, I guess that.
The treasurer
person-
and Joel can release the funds.
Oh, so it's two. Okay, so this is.
Designation of district newspapers. So of the 6 that are listed here, we're going to take Oceanside Island Park Herald off simply because we don't have any more students from Island Park. I'll try. Teresa took it. Oh, on my copy, I'm sorry. This is my copy from the other day that had all my notes on it.
Teresa's ahead of the game.
Teresa was ahead of the game. She beat me to the punch. Established mileage rate for the vehicle, for vehicles used on school business is the standard IRS mileage rate for 22-23. And petty cash authorization approves $100 petty cash to each school building and administration for the 22-23 school year.
20 gallons.
Not even. Does anyone from the board have questions on any of the items we just did? Good. Okay, so we're going to adjourn this portion of the meeting and move on to the business meeting. Okay, I need a motion to move dockets 2-1 through 2-4.
Motion. Second.
Any questions on those items? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Report of committees, we don't have any committees here. No PTA, PTSA or SEPTA in the audience that I can see, but let me just scroll through it one more time if I can get everything out of the way. We don't generally have them over the summer. I just make sure they weren't there. So at this time, we'll move on to our superintendent's report.
I just want to wish everyone a happy summer. I know we're just beginning. Welcome, Trustee Blast, Trustee Cole. Congratulations to Ms. Pro. And we just look forward to doing our summer tasks. I was online today to get my eyeglasses fixed, and one of our recent graduates' parents was with me, and he's like, "So what do you just take off all summer and go on vacation?" I'm like, "No, not exactly." I said, "But we do get some time to rest. We have some hiring to do. We had some retirements this year, so it gives us an opportunity to bring in some new people. We're always keeping up to date with registration for preschool, kindergarten, anyone else who comes into the district, and those are the big major tasks as we get ready for opening day, which, as you all know, this year is in August. Thank you to WIA for collaborating with us so that we can have 2 days so that we can get all of our important work done. We have to read through all of our IEPs and 504s. The teachers do and have to sign off on them, but all the other work that we have to do. So it's going to be an exciting summer. We're looking forward to it. The bond reaping to a close, and we truly look forward to the day that comes to a close, because then we will give tours to the community, to anyone who wants it, to show off most of the work. I don't know if I'll be going on the roof. You'll just have to trust me that there are new roofs established. We can look through that Cornwall and you can see through the windows. What else? I think that's really about where we're at for now. And I look forward to serving another year in high school at Hempstead. So nice to see everybody and happy summer.
Thank you. We've now reached the period for district residents and or employees of the district to address the board. This person will be limited to 3 minutes of non-confidential agenda items with 20 minutes for this part of the meeting if needed. Do we have any questions either in the public audience or in the virtual audience? And if you're in the virtual audience, please raise your hand and I'll call on you when we're done in the public audience. Please identify yourself and then go ahead.
Hi, I'm Allison Gallo. My question is, if the district has sent students to Long Island High School of the Arts, Lisa, in the past, why can't we send more in the future?
I'm gonna defer to Mr. Reaman in regard to this. What I will say is, we've only sent one student to LISA in the past. And there was a lot going on with that student in the past. You know, you and I had a conversation about this, and we won't discuss other students
Understood.
in public. So I don't want to go beyond that. But at the time, LISA was never a certified a CTE program.
Okay.
So it was a special school, like a what's the word I'm talking? Special program. It was not. It was like a, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of it. I'm sorry.
CTE
It's
program?
completely
A
drew a
CTE
blank. It
program?
was not a CTE
Is that what you
program.
were trying to say? I'm
No,
not sure.
it was
I don't-
not a CTE
Right.
program
Very
in
select.
the past. It was
Very
a select
select.
school.
Understood.
For certain things. And so we as a district sent children to the CTE programs at BOCES,
Understood.
at Barry Tech.
Understood.
So moving forward, we know that it's a concern. Certain people have come forward asking about moving them because they have become now a CTE program, which they were not in the past. So that's something that will be discussed.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Okay. What are the criteria for deciding what students are allowed to attend CTE programs in general? Or are eligible, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word.
I don't have the criteria in front of me, but I can get it for you, share it. But
Okay.
every year we go through a process, as you know, begins approximately in January. They have to work with their school counselors. They have to apply with their school counselors. Obviously, grades are involved. Disciplinary records are involved. You know, all the basic criteria that are involved in that. And then they go for a tour and they see if the program's fit. BOCES has to accept them. That's the basic gist of it. If there's anything missing, I'll give you a buzz.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna give you a buzz anyway.
Thank you.
And just so everybody is aware also that there are not an unlimited amount of students that can attend BOCES. This is not directed at you, but just in
No.
general. And I'll be honest, 4 years ago, I didn't know the answer to that question either, when my son chose to go to a program outside and at Barry Tech. So I learned the process and what he had to go through to apply and do all that stuff at that time. So we'll be speaking further.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions in the audience here? Mrs. Hafner?
Yeah. Barbara Hafner. I'm looking at docket 2-5 and I have some questions. We have resignations. Oh, replacing the special ed Cornwall Avenue teacher. I know this is a resignation as of 8/29 for a special ed Cornwall Avenue teacher.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that now. Yeah,
We didn't get to that one yet, but I'll promise you, it'll be answered.
Also, you have two, so before I ask this question, what does a Chestnut, Cornwall Avenue and GW elementary teacher do? Since they're in 3 buildings.
If I'm understanding which one the correct person, that comes through the grant, the federal grant, the ARP grant.
Could you
And
use your microphone? I have a hard time hearing. I'm getting old, what can I tell you? Thank you.
how's that?
I'll let you know in a minute. When you talk.
Can you hear me?
Not really.
put on.
Can you hear me?
I can now, thank you.
So you're asking a question about teaching positions that were created through the federal ARP grant. And so they are teachers who support classrooms, either through small group instruction, or if need be, to cover classes throughout the school.
So they go to all 3 buildings or they're assigned to one of those 3 buildings?
No, it's all dependent. They have a home school, but they go where they're needed.
Because I noticed that we have one that's being moved, that's going to become a elementary school teacher in Cornwall Avenue. And then we have 3 additional Chestnut Street, Cornwall Avenue, and GW teachers.
Right, so I don't know if I can,
We have 4 positions in total. That is correct.
yeah, so we have people that were in those positions that you're talking about,
Yes.
but they're no longer going to be in those positions. Those positions are, I don't want to use the word like full-time sub, but that's almost, they're like small group instruction teachers and full-time subs that float through the buildings. And then there is one person who's replacing somebody in a classroom.
I see that.
Okay,
That's what I'm looking at.
that,
Also, we're moving a Chestnut Street teacher, but we're not filling that Chestnut Street position. Are we down
not at the
a,
moment.
Not at the moment,
are we down a Chestnut Street?
at the
class?
moment.
Okay. And then GW, we're moving one GW teacher and we're going to have two, so we're up one in GW. Is that correct?
Nothing has changed at Cornwell or GW at the moment.
I'm just looking at.
It's just people being shifted. Nobody's, the size of the faculty in those two buildings is not changing.
I'm just looking at the numbers. 4 are being moved out of Cornwell. But there is no full-time, there's no Cornwell Avenue Elementary School replacing that. Are we
Yes,
down
there
2
is.
classes? Not according to this.
Okay, I think,
There's a Chestnut Cornwell Avenue GW teacher, but there isn't just a Cornwell Avenue teacher. So there's a,
We have a Chestnut teacher going to Cornwell,
I see that.
and then there's going, we have an Annette. Am I supposed to talk about it before it's Annette?
not really. Can we go to the docket first, and then would you mind asking you a question after that? Only because we haven't announced where people are
Well, I'm
going
not
yet.
looking for any names. I'm just trying to
No, but
understand the position.
you'll understand it a little better.
And then Hank no longer needs a school psychologist?
No, we have to find one.
Oh, I got you. And the reading teacher in Cornwell Avenue, we don't need a full-time reading teacher? We have a reading teacher.
We have a
that's doing-
teacher who, right, we have a reading teacher who's going to split time, correct?
So we no longer need that additional
Not at the
full-time
moment,
reading.
that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any questions from the virtual audience? Okay, so I'm gonna move forward. At this time, I need a motion to move dockets 2-5 through 2-15.
So move.
Second. Are there any questions on those dockets? All in favor? Aye. Aye, motion passes. Your. Go ahead.
First, I would like to congratulate Mr. Cole Johnson, who I believe is in the
Yes.
virtual audience this evening. And welcome to the Ram fam. He's going to be our new physics teacher in secondary school. Comes to us from upstate, just recently graduated, rolling into his master's program at Hofstra. Very knowledgeable young man, full of energy, and we look forward to the dynamic experiences he's going to bring to our students here in West Hempstead. So congratulations to you, Cole. These are not new, but there are some changes. Ms. Gina Barr has chosen to resign her position as a special education teacher at Cornwell Avenue. She's been there since 2017. She really wanted an opportunity to become a general education classroom teacher. And I believe, my thinking is correct, she's going to be filling a 3rd grade teaching position at Cornwell Avenue. So she's staying in Cornwell Avenue, but she's becoming a general education teacher. So I think Gina's in the audience as well. Gina, thanks for showing up. Nice to see you, sort of, and congratulations to you. Next, we have Ms. Lauren Rogers. She's being recommended to fill the speech teaching position at the secondary school, left vacant by the retirement of our colleague, Ms. Nancy Gunyon. Ms. Rogers has served the district as a part-time speech teacher this past year in the middle school, and she's being recommended by Ms. Riley, Ms. Karras, and congratulations, Lauren. I don't know if you're in the audience, but congratulations to you.
So at this time, I need a motion to move dockets 2-16 through 2-20.
Second.
Any questions on those? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I need a motion to review docket 2-21. Will be reviewed for the next meeting.
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And a motion to move dockets 2-22 through 2-28.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I need a motion to table to the next meeting, docket 2-29.
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I need a motion to move dockets 2-30 through 2-46. Was that Vinnie and Kurt?
Yes.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I need a motion to move docket 2-47 and 2-48.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We have no board privilege of the floor as it's summer, obviously. Future meeting dates are on the back of the agenda. For those who are using the school calendar, just be advised that the August meeting has been changed from August 16th to August 9th. And there will be probably one, maybe two pop-up meetings between now and the August 9th meeting, mostly for the purpose of our interviewing. So that we would note that we would be going directly into executive session and then for the purpose of appointing. And then probably one more before school starts after the August 9th meeting to also appoint, as we always are appointing down to the wire. So we've now reached the period for district residents and or employees of the district to address the board. Again, this time is, this person is limited to 3 minutes of non-confidential agenda items. And there's a maximum of 20 minutes for this portion of the meeting, should it be needed. Do we have any questions from the audience and or the virtual audience? If you're in the virtual audience, please raise your hand and I will call on you. Mrs. Magarachi.
Lorraine Magarachi, resident. Question about the school calendar. Are we considering putting holidays back on? I understand not putting maybe every religious holiday, but maybe the national holidays back on the calendar?
It's a little difficult. There was reasons we took the holidays off the calendar because people, believe it or not, were calling and being offended by certain holidays that were either on it or not on it. And if we're missing a holiday, it's, so
No, which I
everything came off the
understand. That's why
calendar.
I'm not asking for the religious holidays back on. I was just thinking
Yeah.
national.
I mean, it says school closed.
It just says school closed.
Right,
But it says school closed on everything.
right. But I'm saying it says like, you mean like Lincoln's birthday.
Well, yeah, whatever it's called nowadays, are we calling it Lincoln's birthday?
Well, Lincoln's birthday is a federal holiday. So for me, it's a federal holiday.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, but school's not closed on, well, it is because it's usually part of the week, but might not be. And then there's President's Day, which is also a federal holiday for me at work,
So
but it's not a school calendar holiday. No. Not at the moment, but we will discuss it.
because we have to use two calendars. It's like, okay, why is school closed? Are people off from work? Are the why? It's just.
Nothing's on there, just says.
I know.
No, agree with that.
He's right.
Mr. Hoffman, did you have a question? Oh, I thought I saw you have your hand up.
Oh, no.
We just wanted to hear you talk, Mrs. Hoffman. I swear, I thought I saw his hand go up.
He was doing the wave.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Yeah, I just a big little comment. With the experience that we've had in this past budget and the year before, and the negativity that it created in our community, I do hope that we are proactive in how we approach our budgets for the future and make it so that everyone is included in the process, and whatever process we have been doing for the past couple of years, I think it's time to rethink it. Because I don't really think it's healthy for anyone in this community to live with what we lived through in the past couple of years.
No disagreement. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Do we have any other questions from the virtual audience? Joel, you have anything to say? No, huh? All right.
I have a question.
Yes, Phil,
When can we discuss that about the calendar?
discuss it here.
Because I'm not in agreement.
We can't hear you.
Vinny doesn't agree with not having Veterans Day on the calendar.
I think we should put national holidays on the calendar.
If they're not religious.
If they're not religious, I don't see, and if someone disagrees, too bad. We should discuss it.
Well, I don't have an issue with it. I mean, it's just a matter of putting it back on. What was it?
You got Veterans Day, you got Labor Day.
Again, problems with Memorial Day, people for.
There were, well, that's the problem.
Stay.
People
It's
are
getting-
not,
The problem
It's-
was that we're getting not one phone call, we're getting many phone calls about many holidays. I felt,
If it's
I
a
felt,
federal
that-
holiday.
I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with how many religious holidays can you put on a school calendar?
No, I didn't
It's a
say
school-
religious holidays.
No,
I said federal
I
holidays.
I don't
Right.
disagree with you,
But
but I'm
then we have to-
explaining why it occurred. That's all.
right. So then we have to put just to be clear, every federal holiday will be on the calendar whether school is closed or not. I mean, most of them were closed, but like Lincoln's birthday, we're not closed for Lincoln's birthday. It's a federal holiday. So we have to make sure that everything is on the calendar.
Is it
Oh,
called
it's all or
President's Day?
No, President's Day is different than Lincoln's birthday. Lincoln's birthday is February 11th, I think, or the 12th, and President's Day is, the
Well, I
18th or
mean,
whatever.
just to explain
Mama,
why,
same day.
just to explain why the school is closed. I mean, if we're not,
No, if we're gonna put the federal holidays on the calendar, we have to put them all on the calendar. We can't pick and choose, which is not an issue. I don't have a problem with that. Do you have a problem with that?
I mean, how many federal holidays are there?
There's quite a few.
Most of them are off, though. I mean,
Is
there's a couple
Columbus
that
still a
not,
federal
but
holiday?
most
Columbus
federal
is still
holidays
right
are
now.
off.
Right now, but how many people called and complained about Columbus Day being on the calendar?
Really?
Yeah.
Right. So it's truly, it was truly more of people
All
complaining.
because of one day.
Everybody needs to complain about, right? Somebody has to have something to complain
I
about.
don't agree with it.
But, so is everybody okay with putting federal holidays on the calendar?
Yes.
You want to put my birthday down?
Yeah, is that a federal holiday?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm allowed to do it unless it's a federal
My
holiday.
husband calls it a federal holiday.
All right, so we'll handle that. We'll tell Kathy tomorrow that she needs to put federal holidays only. The post office and the banks are closed. She can put it on the calendar. How's that? It was a joke. So with that being said, if we have no further questions from the audience, I just want to say, I hope everybody enjoys their summer and I hope we get to see you here again, August 9th. However, at this time, I need a motion to move into executive session for advice of counsel and regarding personnel.
Second.
All in favor?
Ah.
Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the summer. Enjoy your evening and the warm weather.
Take time.
We're not going. No one's here.